I had given up on trying to cut this with a loader off with a torch, so I decided to go back to trying to get these bolts out that are going to the flex plate without taking the loader arms off, because I've done that before. So what I did now is using a mirror and a light, I was able to actually make sure that I've got that bolt hole. That bolt had centered perfectly in the hole, so now I should be able to get the socket on there. Well, I've got it broken free and it's turning, but I had forgotten what a pain it was to get that ratchet in there, so I'm going to get my air ratchet and compressor out here and set it up. Well, there's the first of the bolts. A lot easier with a little bit of power. Alright, took a little while, but I got all the bolts out of the flex plate, 8 of them. So I think what I'm going to do now is see how many of the bolts I can get out of the bell housing where it bolts up to the engine. Alright, let's throw a tarp down so I can lay underneath this beast, get a better look. And looks like I'll be able to reach 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 or so. Hopefully I can get that one up there. Well, I gotta get these bell housing bolts out, so I might as well get started. Well, had to stop and take a break and change my air hose because it was driving me crazy. Had a big break, crack at the end of the line near the tool and blowing so much air that the compressor just kept coming on constantly. So decided to finally take care of that. I had another hose in the basement I was using for the big compressor, so I swapped them out. And these cheap air hoses, the Home Depot special, I think it was like 20 bucks. And a lot of people are like, well, you should buy better. Somebody whistling at my kids. Well, I want to get rid of this battery tray. It's all kind of rotted out. Used to be 2 batteries going across here. I used to put a board across because it was rotted out in the center. But I want to get it out of the way, and that'll give me better access to the top here. Well, with those trays out of the way, it's a lot easier now to get to these top bolts for the bell housing. Okay, now I'm going to get a 9/16 open-end wrench because there's not enough clearance to get a socket in here. I got to take these 2 nuts off to remove the hydraulic pump from the back of the motor. That's going to give me access to the last of the bolts for the bell housing that I can't quite reach, and actually the one on the top side there is going to just be easier to get out with this out of the way. Okay, I've got the pump out of the way, got those last of the bolts out that hold bell housing to the motor. So the bell housing, so the transmission should be free of the motor now because the bell housing's unbolted and the flex plate's unbolted. So the only thing really keeping them mated together right now is the fact that they're both mounted in the frame. So this is a coupler. This is a drive coupler. This actually goes in and engages with the gear train inside the back of the 353 and adapts to whatever this gear is here on this. This looks like it's just a straight tooth gear on the hydraulic pump. That hydraulic pump's practically brand new. It was a new old stock pump I bought to replace my original pump, which had failed, and I barely put any hours on it before I decided to scrap the machine. So I'm going to either save that pump for a log splitter or a front end loader type of project at some point, or maybe I'll sell it if I find somebody who needs one and is willing to pay me a decent price. That racket you can hear in the background, that's my 10-year-old on the XR100 with that FMF pipe on it. It's a little barky, but he's doing very well on it. I don't know if when I was 10 years old if I could have handled the 100, but he's outgrown the 70, and it's the perfect size for his 8-year-old brother. His 8-year-old brother's riding the 70 around over there, and the 7-year-old's riding the 50. So I'd like to put him in an 80, but you know, the 100's what we got, so that's what he's riding. I don't think I'd want him going into wooded trails or anything with it, but as far as just tooling around here in the field and the little path we got cut here, it's pretty tame. So, but that XR100's holding up nicely. Yeah, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, you can check my page and you'll see the XR100R project, 2003. That was a whole ordeal. Had to split the case on that and everything. And there was some question as to how good it was going to run after I put it all back together, and it's running real well. There's my son on the 70, getting ready to crash into a rock. Alright, so next question. What's left holding this 353 in here? And it looks to me, I think, like we've got this thing almost out. There's a bracket up in the front here, acts kind of like a cradle in the front, supports the front of it, and it looks like there's just 4 bolts bolting the block to that bracket. So that's pretty straightforward. And then we've got these big brackets right here, which actually kind of bolt. They kind of bolt the transmission. They kind of bolt to the transmission, and they bolt to the block in the back here, and they also bolt to the frame. So I guess we could call them motor mounts. You got 4 big bolts on this side, and one's missing on the other side already, so there's only 3 on the other side. So we drop these bolts out on both sides, and those ones in the front there, and the thing will just want to fall out. So what we're going to want to do is support this from overhead, and the only way I can see of doing that right now is with the loader from the Oliver.